that is involved in the budget making process, from National Treasury to Parliament and then to Mwananchi, has been happening. So right about now, I'm joined by the director of the Parliamentary Budget Office, the PBO office, Dr. Martin Masinde. He has also been, these are the people that have been working in the background, uko nyuma tent, kuhakikisha kwamba what comes out into the public also reflects the needs of the Mwananchi and the economy, as well as all issues that are concerned about budget. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Thank you so much.
Siku imefika.
Siku imefika, siku yenyewe. This is just a culmination of many events that have happened since August last year. Yes. I'm sure many Kenyans think this is the D-Day, but I think the process has been on for since August last year, 2025.
2025, 2026.
Yes.
So this is not the D-Day actually, because we still have the finance bill and
finance
the
bill coming, appropriation bill coming. But it's important because basically the CS will come and pronounce the highlights in terms of the economy, performance of expenditure, revenues, as well as a snippet of what is in for the financing measures as contained in the finance bill. Yes.
Your office has actually been a core pillar in helping Parliament liaise with, of course, the National Treasury Executive in coming up with the budget over the country for all these financial years. How different has it been perhaps for this year? If you compare last year's preparations and the budget, last year was 4.3 trillion Kenya shillings.
Yes.
However, we have heard from the chair of the Budget Appropriations Committee that it rose, at the end of it all, it rose to 4.6, of course, due to the supplementary budgets that...
it was revised, yeah.
It was revised. How different has it been, learning from the lessons of 2025 into now 2026, 2027?
One or two things. Actually, firstly, the most important difference between the 2026-27 budget when you compare with 25-26 stems from the point that this is the year of our Lord. If programs are not fully taken care of in 26-27, then it means that we have chances that the budget for 27-28 will basically belong to the other administration. Because remember, we'll approve the finance bill and the budget for 27-28 in April next year. So any program that is in the 26-27 budget is near finality in terms of ensuring that the programs underpinned by the better priorities of government are supposed to be implemented in 26-27. Treasury sent a circular to ministries, departments and agencies explaining on the intention and the key areas of focus for 26-27 in August. In October, the same Treasury produced something called a budget review outlook paper. So they reviewed the performance of 25-26 and provided some highlight of what is likely to happen for 26-27. In there, in sectors, and they are given a ceiling as contained in the budget review outlook paper. They are required to go and sit down and do something called sector resource contestation.
Before you continue, this ceiling, is it the normal understanding that we have that whatever you are going to be allocated should not surpass this, or you were allocated this and you did not get to your ceiling, so we are reducing it to something else?
The ceiling is what you are supposed to fit your budget in. So if 5 ministers are given one ceiling, they have to do something called sector contestation and resource bidding. You might justify your programs, I justify mine, another entity also justify their own programs, and then we rank them. So in the budget review outlook paper, it contains those ceilings that are supposed to inform sector contestation among ministries. So like say national security, you'll have NIS, you'll have defense, you'll have police.
National police.
Yes, so each of them is supposed to bring their priorities and rank them in order of priority and share that ceiling per sector, like
Okay.
for security now.
Okay.
So that was in August, I mean in October. In December, they were supposed to produce sector reports. Sector reports, they give a snapshot of the previous expenditure in 25-26 and the projections of expenditure in line of priority for 26-27. That was in December, right? In February, Parliament started getting involved now. We received a budget policy statement. And I want to inform Kenyans that actually that's a document that is least focused on and yet very, very important. Because in there, the BPS sort of provides a projection of the resource envelope for 26-27 for national government, which is basically executive, judiciary, and parliament. It also provides an indication of money going to counties underpinned by the equitable share as well as conditional grants. So to me, the policy statement is what people need to really critically look at because it also informs equally the financing measures as contained in the proposal by the CS Treasury in the finance bill.
Well, there's something that you've mentioned earlier. That the budget for next year will be
4.8 trillion.
for next year is 4.8 trillion.
Exactly,
Yes, that
4.8
one.
trillion.
Yeah, that one we understand.
Yes.
The reading of the budget for the 2027-2028.
Yes.
There's something you mentioned about April. Was it that the process needs to have been concluded?
Because of elections in August,
Uh-huh.
it basically means that we have to redraw the budget calendar in a way that by April, end of April next year, we have passed the budget for the estimates for 27-28, as well as the finance bill for 27-28, because Parliament is going to Sinadie in say June. So basically by around May, we need to have done with the budget completely. But in my view, probably, even if we pass it, we'll have another supplementary budget in say September, October,
when now the new
when the
administration,
new administration comes in place, changing the priorities, among other things.
So then that means that the reading of the budget perhaps for next year will not be done in June.
Ceremonially, yes, but the process will be complete in,
Will be
in
complete,
April.
and we need to be done with the appropriations bill, and we need to be done
Finance
with the
bill.
finance bill.
But because of the
Okay, that
EAC,
makes sense. Yes.
budgeting happens across jurisdictions in East Africa, and therefore probably the CS might just come and pronounce those
Ceremony,
highlights
exactly,
at a ceremony
exactly.
because we'll be
Oh,
going
yeah,
towards
oh, yeah.
Sinadie, people will be in the party primaries will have happened. We'll be in the real election mood at that point in time, yes.
You have put emphasis on the budget policy statement, saying that that is the most important document that Kenyans need to be keen on.
Yes.
Before we come back to that, the process of the budget making from August, there's an issue you mentioned about reviewing the performance of the sectors and the ministries.
Yes, yes.
Does that also inform how the allocation will be for the next year, for the next financial year?
Definitely, yes.
How
Because
does
of
it-
pending bills and arrears and programs that were never done in the previous year must become sort of a fast charge in terms of implementation. So in the budget review outlook paper, you'll see the amount of pending bills, programs, key areas that were never focused in 25-26 showing up in 26-27. Because remember, in Kenya, we are implementing a medium-term perspective in our budgeting, which is across 3 years. So we can't just look at 1 year only. The entire perspective of 3 years must be taken into consideration at the point of reviewing and looking at the outlook for the following financial year. Yes.
Okay, there is a question that I posed to the chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee, regarding the rise in the budget for the next financial year.
Yes.
Last year, this financial year, 2025-26 was 4.3, but then
Yes.
it rose.
Yes.
Now we have 4.81 trillion.
Yes.
The budget office, how do you defend that particular increase in terms of the allocations?
Actually, I'll shock you that the major increase in the budget for 2026-27 is occasioned by interest payments on debts, both domestic and external. It's about, the projection is about 1.2 trillion shillings. We'll go towards defraying interest payments on debt that we have taken previously. When you go to the key ministerial allocations, the budget for executive is going down
Okay.
by 148 billion.
Okay.
Yes. So what is occasioning the increase in the budget for globally are basically debt issues. Then, of course, now, yesterday we passed the division of revenue. The two houses were able to agree at a figure of 428.
428.
So it means further now, and remember the chair said in the House that the shortfall of the original intention was 420,
420.
right?
So there's an
8 billion shillings shall be borne by
the
national
national
government,
government. That is
and
what is it?
specifically
Yeah.
executive, right? So in the coming days, you'll see Parliament revising the appropriation bill downwards by 8 billion shillings
Okay.
to take care of the additional resources going to subnational governments, which are county governments. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, the debt repayment is the one that
Is what is showing up. And that's why when you look at the 26-27 proposals, increasingly the government of the day is proposing to come up with innovative measures and ways of funding infrastructure, like the National Infrastructure Fund, the NIF,
Yes.
securitization of roads.
Yes.
Yes. That innovation is geared towards bridging the gap of the debt pressure currently we have against the intention of also upscaling infrastructure areas in terms of development. Yes, yes.
Okay.
And by the way, even the budget for roads, from the proposal by the Treasury, is going to go down by 25 billion shillings
By 25 billion.
for 26-27.
27.
Part of that is meant to,
All the sectors, whether
Yes,
it's
yes.
debt, whether it's development, whether it's recurrent. What happens hapa katikati, then we see that we have the supplementary budget.
Okay, at least for 26-27, one thing I've seen in the budget is that all monies for operation and maintenance across all the MDS, ministries, departments, and agencies went down by 5%.
25, 26.
Yes, 26-27, sorry.
26, 27.
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Okay.
went down by 5%. Occasioned by the thinking of national government that the EGP is now going to be rolled out fully. So for 27, 26, 27, every entity is going to implement EGP, system of procurement. And I can tell you from where I sit, we're going to save some resources.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. In the original proposal by, say, Ministry of, say, Agriculture, one seedling was going for, say, 500 shillings. In the new EGP system, don't be surprised to see a seedling of coffee going at 100 shillings. So for every 1,000 bob you want to buy for seedlings, you're going to buy more with less. So I'm believing that probably we need to do more with less by trying to leverage on this EGP system. If the entire structure of government implements it, to me we'll be able to meet some of the objectives, as it were, with reduced resources. That's my view.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's go back to the budget process.
Yes.
We are. Can we authoritatively say that we are coming to the end of the budget process for the 2026-2027 financial year?
Yes, we're coming to the tail end
To the tail end.
of the process.
That is
And-
once the finance bill is passed.
Is passed. Yes, but the most important thing that people need to understand is the role of the legislature. From the policy statement I said, the budget policy comes to Parliament, the debt document comes to Parliament. We do scrutiny across committees of Parliament, budget committee being the king of all committees in terms of expenditure, the debt committee which make proposals on reining on our debt levels, and then other departmental committees will scrutinize the specific areas of MDS under their purview. The reports are put together, and one report is tabled, two reports actually, one on the budget policy statement, another one on the debt strategy paper. The proposals, especially for the finance bill, all the measures from the CS Mbadi is trying to propose now were in the policy statement.
Okay.
That's why I was saying scrutiny need to have happened there at that point in time, where you interrogate what is this tax administration you want to implement. Because what CS Mbadi is basically doing is just to take the provisions of the policy decision approved by Parliament in the policy statement and actualize them through a finance bill.
Take us through this budget policy statement.
Yes.
Kama hapa Wakenya wengi walipitwa.
Walipitwa, they missed the occasion.
It's usually out by Feb.
By Feb.
Then comes to Parliament for consideration.
For consideration.
And debate and all that.
Exactly.
But there is no mwananchi hajui hapo.
Yes, and we usually send notices for public participation. Tunaita wananchi wakuja waangalie and make proposals on expenditure cutting areas, revenue raising areas. And we rarely get a lot of information in that regard. So the best we can do is to have the information that is available and advise the committees of parliament, and they pass it. So essentially, to me, Kenyans must focus on the budget policy statement. Otherwise, by the time the books come in April, both the estimates for revenue and expenditure, the train has left the station.
Where do you think has been the weakest link in terms of even Mwananchi being able to grasp that the BPS is the one that contains everything and maybe act at that particular moment? What has been the weakest link?
Probably because Treasury does its own public participation on the budget policy statement, but as a parliament, I think we increasingly want to use more machinani strategies, you know, constituencies, perhaps to publicize even more. We've been trying to do newspaper adverts, but I think going forward, we might want to think of a way of making sure that document reaches the people down, you know. Others, the way it is, once we
But again, Daktari, you realize that this is information that perhaps needs to also be broken down for the public to be able to understand and be able to grasp what exactly it entails. Because most of the times when it comes from the Treasury, comes to Parliament, the debate that happens with the legislators is what also Mwananchi is also able to follow and be able to understand. And of course, when we get also experts to be able to understand, how easy do you think perhaps Parliament can be able to break down this particular information for Mwananchi to be able to...
I think just the way we do an explainer. Right now, if you go to the Parliament website and the social media pages, you'll see as a stylized version of the finance bill. I think now going forward, we might think about trying to do a simple explainer of the policies contained in the budget policy statement. What we do as a budget office is we do an unpacking. Probably it's a bit bulky. So I think going forward, we just want to introduce a new document called BPS Explainer. And then, you know, send it out there for the common Mwananchi to know the implication of what the proposals are obtaining for that particular financial year and the medium term. Because
when it comes to Parliament, can it also be amended, or is it usually like a cast on stone document, or can it be
Parliament has the powers of amending. When you go through the schedule of budget policy statement for 26-27, we push money to Auditor General, increase the ceiling for judiciary amid this, you know, elections and so on. So actually Parliament has the power of changing the ceilings proposed in the budget policy statement emanating from the Treasury. And that's why probably involving the public is a pivotal, you know, issue we need to really consider deeply and ensure that that document reaches the common Mwananchi down there the way the finance bill process has happened. I think it's something we need to also upscale.
Just in a nutshell, what does the budget policy statement usually contain? The one that you say that Mwananchi should be able to grasp. Is it the policies that later on form the revenue raising measures? Is it the policies that later on inform what budget shall be adopted? Or what are these policies that are normally
contained in the budget policy statement?
Yes, in a nutshell.
Number one, it has the resource envelope. For the following year, for 26-27, for instance.
The resource envelope.
In there, it has revenue proposals and the policies driving revenue, which is going to inform the finance bill. So if when you open the BPS, the policy statement, you'll see the proposals, the engineering business process, the quest by government to amend specific laws, improving tax administration, all those proposals are actually there. Yes, that's number one. Number two, it also contains a proposal of money going to counties, both conditional and non-conditional. Third, it contains a proposal of money to equalization funds. Fourth, it contains all expenditure proposals for the following year, 26-27. Yes. So actually that is the budget in my view. It's a snippet of what is likely to come in the budget for 26-27. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So from where you sit, you feel like the public out there does not interact with it
so much
efficiently.
Because when you look at the ceilings in the current budget estimate for 26-27, compare with what the House approved in the budget policy statement, they are nearly one-to-one, other than minor variations. So basically, Treasury has tried to adhere to the resolution of the House approved in the month of March in the budget policy statement.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the budget process. Tumefika September.
Tulikuwa tumepita September, ilikuwa budget review outlook paper.
Yes, the outlook
December, they produced sector reports. In February, we had the budget policy statement. From there, once the House, the National Assembly, approves the budget policy statement, the following day we publish the division of revenue. Because they'll have determined the vertical allocation of money going to counties and what remains at national level. We publish the division of revenue. Of course, this time it has a bit taken some time.
It has taken time.
But ideally, we need by end of March, we are done.
With the division of revenue bill.
Which actually National Assembly by around mid-March, end of March, we had finished the division of revenue and sent to the Senate.
For
but of course, the law provides for mediation. It took a little longer to resolve the monies that are going to counties. So we published division of revenue. Immediately, ideally, once the division of revenue is passed, you publish a county allocation of revenue bill from the Senate. We can now divide the share of money that is going to counties. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So by the time we get to the budget policy, this one has already been catered for and completed.
Yes. Now in the month of April, once we pass the policy statement, the National Executive will know how much they have in terms of their own share. That's Parliament, Judiciary and Executive. Then wanaenda wanapewa, they are given money to go and now do the detailed budget which comes end of April. Plus a finance bill now.
Finance bill.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Okay. And also that's the one that is being considered at the also committee of the supply, now where the monies shall be going into the different programs or...
Yes. Now once it comes in the month of April, all departmental committees take their budgets based on the provision of the standing orders in terms of the mandate of the committee. I hope we're together.
Yes.
Then the budget committee picks Article 221, subsection 4 and 5, which says that National Assembly shall go to the public and seek views. So as the process of committees is going on in the departmental committees, the budget committee goes to the public. We went to 16 counties, right?
Yep.
To seek views on expenditure. So members of the budget committee divided themselves into those particular areas, and we did visit 16 counties to pick proposals of the areas that was left out during the budget preparation. And I can tell you, if you open the report of the committee now, there's a schedule of allocation of projects that we got views from the public, which is going to be implemented for 26-27
financial year.
Yes, financial year. So the two processes are actually running concurrently. Budget committee wameenda kwa wananchi. The departmental committees are dealing with the MDS. When we come back, chairs of the committees appear before the budget committee to present the proposals and amendments to the budget committee. And the work of the budget committee is to be a gatekeeper. Wanaangalia committee on agriculture mmeleta mabadiliko magani. Is it in line with government priorities? Are you asking for too much money? So the budget committee does the balancing effect process, of course consulting the national treasury and even perhaps even the presidency, because the bearer of the vision is the president of the day. So they must do things within the confines of areas of priority in sync with the government of the day. That's basically their work. Then they produce a report which comes to the House. Debate goes on, proposals, members will give views about it, culminating in the Committee of Supply. Are you together?
Yes.
Committee of Supply basically means that actually, if this chamber was big enough, where do you come from? Which is your constituency?
Kaloleni.
Kaloleni. All members of Kaloleni cannot fit in the chamber.
All okay.
All the public.
The constituents.
Exactly. Cannot fit in the chamber.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no taxation without representation.
Yeah.
And therefore, on behalf of the people of Kaloleni, your MP will participate in supplying money for expenditure
to the different
entities and programs. Yes. They're called supply resolutions. And they're very important because they are binding in a way. Yes.
All right. Then now that again informs the adoption of the appropriations bill that now will help.
So during supply, a vote is called on each program and vote. And it must agree to. Once it's agreed to in wholesome, there are about even 8 programs running as they read in the chamber. Once that is done, then now the clerk of the National Assembly will communicate to Treasury about the supply resolutions which are binding, and we require now to publish the appropriation bill. So Treasury and the Parliamentary Budget Office will sit together, go through the supply resolutions and publish an appropriation bill, which is now before the House.
Yes.
It was read for the first time
First reading yesterday. Now it has gone for public participation.
Now that one also, because we already done public participation in the estimates.
Yes.
There's no need of actually, because it's one-to-one. The supply resolutions must be one-to-one with the appropriation bill.
Yes.
And therefore we just expect the House to confirm that indeed the supply resolutions are in line with the bill, and then we pass it.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about the growth projections, the growth rate projections.
Yes, yes.
Your office, the Parliamentary Budget Office, initially your projections was it 4 point?
It was 4.8.
4.8.
But now we have since revised it down to 4.4.
Yeah, revised to 4.4 exactly. What
Yes.
has informed that, perhaps? What have been the...
We are a fairly independent office, and our view is, number one, the global environment is still hitting on us, and we are a bit not very sure on, the extent to which, the time that it will take to peter out, to end. So number one, we have uncertain global environment. Number two, from the oil perspective. Number two, the entire global world is only growing at 3.4%.
Okay.
And Kenya is a small open economy, and therefore we believe the impact of the slowdown of global economy is likely to have a negative knock-on effect on the growth trajectory for Kenya. Number two, the Meteorology Department are predicting a serious El Nino, which is likely also to affect the agri sector. And remember, 25% of our GDP is in the agri sector. So our revision is also downwards a bit because we see subdued production in the agri sector. And number three. Number four is the revenue performance for 2025-26, where we see probably we're going to have significant shortfalls to a tune of about 140 billion shillings.
140 billion shillings.
Yes.
Shortfall.
So if the base for 25-26 is slightly lower, we expect that the growth of revenues in 26-27 will be slightly lower compared to what Treasury is projecting. And of course, Treasury is optimistic that they gave some money to KRA in supplementary budget, 20 billion shillings. So it's a wait and see situation in our view. Yes.
Okay. The Parliamentary Budget Office projections are 4.4%.
Yes.
Treasury has its own projections.
5%.
5%.
Yes.
Why though are you not working in sync? Perhaps. Then which one do we go by? Which one do we put our eyes on?
Of course, you put on the eyes for the one for Treasury, but we are a very independent office, and our view is actually to inform members of Parliament, legislature at large.
Exactly.
Yes. So we are fairly cautious in our approach, that we better, have modest growth projection. Even if they meet, they overachieve it, the better for us. So ours is, our assumptions are very cautious. Treasury, naturally, in the world, they are usually optimistic.
Optimistic, very ambitious.
Exactly. Yes.
How are your projections? Your projections? How did the projections stand for the 2024-2025 financial year with these ones?
We believe we will be more realistic, given the current outcome up to May. From a revenue point of view, we believe our projections were more realistic. Although Treasury still insists that they are going to meet the target, but we don't see only a few weeks left to the end of the financial year.
A few weeks, yes.
We strongly believe that our projections were more realistic. And often the Budget Committee and the House, often the not actually usually agrees with us, and we usually send a warning. In the committee report, you will see specific, proposals that the committee and the House was proposing in terms of upscaling revenue collection, which is basically information we provide to them.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's go back a bit to the review process where you look at the performance of even the MDAs and all that, and also propose or look way forward on how to. Have you seen what has been the major? I don't want to call it a challenge, but what have been the results at the end of it as you review? How has been the performance in terms of development by the ministries for the monies that have been put out there for development? How has the achievement of those projections been, or those development plans been?
Thanks to the new our standing orders, actually, we have a very strong provision that requires that every quarter the MDA shall submit a report on budget implementation to Parliament. So we as a PBO, we usually get those documents, we analyze together with the control of budget reports and inform members of inform those particular committees. In that way, when they go for the field visits, they're able to know that the actual expenditure for this program was, for first quarter, was 5 billion shillings. And we see perhaps the outcome is that no money has been disbursed so far. When they go out there to check the implementation on the ground, will be compared with the numbers we have. So if we realize that actually we have a slowdown in terms of implementation,
exactly,
then the committee is able to call the minister in charge, the PS in charge, and globally the treasury to explain why we're having a slowdown of program implementation. So I want to see the outcome of that by end of June this year to see whether the legislature was able to be impactful in terms of influencing budget execution by doing the follow-ups in the various departmental committees. Yes.
And perhaps how I don't want to say common, how the cases, how many have you been dealing with in terms of what you are telling us now?
Oh, but then we have positive gains.
Are they regular, often, or the implementation is really
we have positive gains. Actually, some ministries, the CS could be our, because the CS drives policy. In some areas by there, you realize that the CS has got no idea of what is happening. But with the reports showing up now, increasingly, people are able to lay blame to where it belongs to. If an MDA is implementing program X and they haven't received the exchequer, then we'll know the problem is the National Treasury. Then Treasury has to explain why those monies are not being disbursed on time. So to me, the vintage point is the legislature now is able to be at the center of budget execution, which wasn't the case before.
Which wasn't in the
before the old standing orders, they didn't provide any provision for budget execution
and the follow-up.
So
you feel now that since after the introduction of those standing orders, now the legislature has been very at the center of it.
And even actually the scrutiny of 26-27 will automatically be affected by the program implementation status of 25-26. And I've seen some committees actually cutting off some programs that are slow moving and putting money in areas that they believe they are important in terms of quick wins of achieving those priorities.
But if they're slow moving and yet they perhaps need to have an impact on Mwananchi and they are being moved to somewhere else, what happens now to the programs that are supposed to help Mwananchi, let's say, but they have been slow?
It is two-pronged. Number one, that those slow-moving programs that are not very important. But if the programs are slow-moving but are important, then we look for mechanisms of ensuring that farmers get fertilizer on time. So you cannot cut down on fertilizer just because
it's slow.
Yes. We ensure that is done. The minister is called to explain why are we not having a timely fertilizer to farmers, and then now Treasury is also involved in the process and asking why perhaps it's taken so long for money to be disbursed. So it's a loop. MDA, committee, MDA, and then Treasury. Because sometimes the problem is not with the ministry. Probably there are exchequer challenges that are arising in the course of time.
Okay, thank you for that. Those are great insights. Let's delve into the debt management. It also falls. You also a critical organ in ensuring that Parliament ensures that the country does not go beyond the ceiling. But we are already over.
Yes.
So, from where you sit, what do you think the debt management should focus on in terms of trying to bring the ceiling down?
When you go through the debt reports, even as we speak now, the report on debt for the budget for 26-27 is before the House. And I think the Committee on Debt has done a very good job in terms of remedying and making proposals to ensure that the loans taken are properly utilized. A case in point is before the debt committee was formed, there were huge monies paid in terms of commitments, and yet the loans have not been taken off.
All right, okay.
So actually, the committee has been able to call all those entities to ensure that they explain why we have sitting commitments running in billions of shillings, and yet the programs are not being undertaken. Those proposals have gone to Treasury, and even as we speak, there's a proposal of a specific bill that's supposed to be spearheaded by the Committee on Debt in terms of just managing the debt situation in Kenya. So to me, legislature is at the center of debt management. And going forward, we will see a lot of gains. And even the budget for 26-27, you'll see the deficit is 1.1 trillion compared to 1.2 trillion that is likely to come to be actualized in 2026-27. So then the gains of deficit financing and debt reduction is slowly being seen. Because remember, deficit leads to debt accumulation. So for you to reduce the deficit, you must reduce, debt, you must reduce the deficit. So going forward, we'll see, I'm sure we'll see a lot of gains from the debt committee perspective.
From the debt committee.
In terms of reducing the debt going forward.
Okay, all right. So this afternoon, the cabinet secretary is coming to make the budget pronouncements for the 2026-27. Your office has been a very crucial part in all that. Unamwambiaje mwananchi in terms of the budget that is now before everyone? Like this is everyone's participation in this budget, if it's taxations, if it's what, because there have also been issues. Maybe I should just actually pose it to you before we wind up on the revenue raising measures and that will fund the budget. Your office, how do you assure mwananchi kule nje kwamba you have also done with what is within your capacity to ensure that mwananchi hafinyiliwi sana? Yes.
We've done justice. We actually analyzed the bill and the proposals of getting out some areas that are injurious to the public. Our report is before the Finance Committee. I know the chair of Finance Committee very well. I am sure he will take those provisions on board. Of course, balancing between revenue collection and also the burden to mwananchi. Our projection that the finance bill is likely to raise 120 billion shillings. So for every proposal we give out, we also provide an alternative way of funding the additional budget pressures without injuring mwananchi. So to Kenyans, be assured that PBO as a parliamentary budget office, we've given advice to members of parliament. I am sure they've always listened and they listen to us, and I believe and pray that the outcome of the proposals from the expenditure and revenue side will be beneficial to Kenyans in line with the beta agenda of the government of the day. Yes.
Maybe nasikia inaniasha hii swali, maybe are we going to see an increase of the budget for 2027-2028, or perhaps projections inasema inaweza enda chini kidogo?
Projections indicate that expenditures being rationalized for 25, 26, 27 and 27, 28, you'll see a continuous slowdown, and then it means ministries might be able to do more with less.
Okay. So a parting shot, maybe if you feel there's something you wanted to maybe to talk to mwananchi about.
Nothing so far. I think we just expect our office expects that perhaps 26-27 will be a better year if MDS are able to utilize the money in an efficient and effective manner, geared towards just offering services to the common mwananchi, which is the cardinal role of the legislature.
Of the legislature, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That has been the director of the Parliamentary Budget Office, Dr. Martin Masinde, shedding light to me and you regarding the budget process, when it starts, when it ends. He said that we are at the tail end of the 2025-2026 financial year, meaning that the 2026-2027 financial year, meaning that the next budget is almost coming to its, or rather starting basically that. So right now I'm joined by my colleague, my fellow journalist as well as commentator, the parliamentary proceedings. This is
you don't know my name.
Edward Kabasa.
How are you?
Welcome.
Good job.
You have been missing in action for a long time.
Not really. There is so much away from the screens. There's a lot that happens, especially in in our spheres of journalism.
Yes.
I've been to China
yes.
for 2 weeks, learned so much. But today I'm really excited about the 4.8 trillion that the Cabinet Secretary is going to lay bare before the country this afternoon.
And
the engagement so far points to the direction that Kenya is actually moving ahead. And what I am really interested in is finding out how, you know, the tax measures that the government is putting into place are going to help this country achieve the needed development that that we require. A new airport terminal is going to be built, by the way, and I think it's one of those things. I hope he mentions it. Yes, and also education, CBE is a new curriculum that I think the government is trying to lay a lot of emphasis on. It is getting the lion's share of the budget that is going to
also
be
health is part of
health is also there.
Yeah.
The universal health coverage is something that I think the government is really trying to achieve. There is also the hiring of intern teachers and so many good things that I think the Cabinet Secretary will be presenting this afternoon to Parliament.
Well, so for me that wraps it up. Thank you for allowing me to steer this particular conversation this morning. I have talked, or we have heard from the Chairperson Budget and Appropriations Committee, Honorable Samuel Atandi, and also we have also gotten some insights regarding the budget process and how the Parliamentary Budget Office is actually, what its role is in the budget process in guiding the legislature. That was from the Director, Dr. Martin Masinde. So as of now, for now, I hand it over to my colleague, Edward Kabasa, who will be able to walk with you through the next conversation. Of course, later on in the afternoon, the CS for Treasury, John Mbadi, shall be in the chamber to be able to present or make the budget pronouncements for the next financial year. That's it from me. My name is Kamche Menza. See you later.
Thank you very much, Kamche Menza. It is a very interesting afternoon. 4.8 trillion shillings is going to be presented. What the government is going to do to ensure that it attains this this money that is going to fund Kenya's development in the 2020-27 financial year. The Cabinet Secretary for Treasury will be before Parliament this afternoon to read out the budget, and there is health, education, agriculture, housing, roads and infrastructure, social protection, security, youth and women empowerment. What does the Cabinet Secretary has in store for these sectors? And joining me now is Ugenya Member of Parliament, David Ochieng. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Even the climate today agrees that it is a momentous occasion for the country. What are you waiting for this afternoon? What is your expectation like?
Oh, thank you so much, and I agree with you that it's a momentous day and occasion. And for me, I'm looking forward to especially resources and investments in the productive sectors. You know, we want to hear how much money is going into fisheries, how much money is going to coffee, how much is going to sugarcane, how much money is going into agriculture generally. Because as you know that our Kenya Kwanza manifesto is very strong on investing in the productive sectors. And I know that through the process we've just gone through, we've been pushing for more resources going into those productive sectors. You know, we want more money in agriculture, fisheries, blue economy, mining, cooperatives, and I'm certain that in the afternoon we'll listen to more on that. I'm also aware that so much resources is being put in social protection, trying to ensure that the indigents, the older people, you know, widows, the disabled persons are taken care of. You know, as an African society, we are reminded that we must take over the weakest of ourselves, of us in the society. I also am looking forward to resources in sectors that, help what you call the downside of production, infrastructure. Kenyans are looking at ensuring that the things that are supposed to be done, the monies on railway to Kisumu to Malaba, the monies on the Mau Summit, Rironi, the key roads, the key sectors that help us, interconnect in the country. We were looking forward to seeing how much money has been put into, especially roads, railways, and lake, or generally lake transport. For example, Lake Victoria today is not very much utilized transport-wise. And we're looking forward to more resources being put in, especially ferry, security in the lake, and ensuring that there's restocking of fish in Lake Victoria especially. We are looking forward to resources that are going to ensure that in the future we have fish industry growing. You probably are aware that there's a big project happening now in Nyando on aquaculture. We want to see resources that are put in our budget that will ensure that what is being built in Nyando flows down to the lake, and the whole of the lake infrastructure is done so that the fisher folk are able to benefit. You know that for us, we've been pushing for the ring road that runs all the way from Busia to Mfangano, on the other side of the lake. And we are hoping that enough resources have been put in that budget that will ensure that those roads that have been promised over the last 20, 30 years are done and are done properly.
All right.
You know that Kenyans are now paying a lot of money in terms of the housing levy. And Kenyans want to see the housing money being spread equitably across the country, so that what is being built in Mombasa, in Turkana, in Nyeri, and in Lamu meets the standards of what the country requires. We want to see a more balanced distribution of the cake we have as a country. You probably know that we still have out there more than 100,000 trained teachers that are looking for jobs.
True.
And so Kenyans will be waiting to hear that in this budget, how many more teachers are being absorbed. Of course, this government has done very well in absorbing the trained teachers. So far we've absorbed almost 50,000.
Yeah.
We are hoping that in this coming budget, it can absorb another 20,000 to 40,000.
Yes.
Kenyans are looking forward to hearing from, the minister this afternoon.
And among the highlights, especially on that, is 4.9 billion shillings that has been set aside to employ 20,000 teachers on permanent and pensionable basis. Is this a good start, especially for a country that has come, from a history where there's been a lot of agitation, especially from the teaching fraternity, that you need to employ more?
It's actually not a good start. It's a good continuation. Because as we know, in the last 3 years, we started with 20,000, 20,000, 10, now 20,000.
Yes.
And we were hoping that in case there's going to be a supplementary ahead, we'll absorb another 20,000. You would probably know this, that our schools are, especially the senior schools, are largely understaffed. If you go to the far-flung areas like Turkana, Northeastern, you go to parts of Nyanza and Western Kenya, the understaffing is quite acute. And so having more teachers that have been trained being absorbed, for me, is a big plus. You probably know that among those who are going to be absorbed, there's also a bigger number that are still on internship, that have not finished. And the program, and we hope that we provide money for it, is that anybody who has been absorbed into internship should be given permanent pensionable job after the 2 years. And I want to plead with Kenyans, the NAT and the KUPPET. Please allow this to run the way it's already being run. Let's not, after 6 months, after 1 year, you are now saying, oh, they have done so much work, they should be absorbed. If the agreement is that they intern for 2 years and then get absorbed, let's stick to that so that more people are able to come into this system, we have more teachers getting employed.
During the National Assembly retreat in Naivasha, the question about the cost of educating a Kenyan student arose.
Yeah.
Again, what is the cost of educating a Kenyan student all the way from preschool to to university?
I don't think I'm probably placed to answer that question, but we probably know. First of all, I'm very happy, by the way. I must say I'm happy with the changes in the Ministry of Education. You know, with our PS, we didn't understand what he was doing. And now with the new PS who has spent his time in the ministry, we are certain that the reforms you're looking for in the education sector are going to be dealt with. You know, the question we asked that time, and that I was still asking, and that we'll continue asking the new PS, please get us an optimal cost so that a parent knows that when my kid goes to ECD, this is what I'll spend. When my kid goes to junior school, this is what we'll need. When my kid goes to preparatory school, the CBC, from grade 1 to grade 6, this is what I'm going to spend. So that we are aware as a country the kind of resources we require. In this budget, for example, you see how much is going to the education sector? 708. Something
781.4
billion shillings. Okay,
the lion's share.
You understand? So we should not be doing potea pata with our education sector. We should be clear. We are spending this much money. What do we expect to get back?
Yes.
You know, the ongoing unrest in schools is a symptom of something that we need to address. Our planning in education. We cannot be investing so much money and our planning is loop-sided. We must see some of these things before they happen so that we're able to address them. And above all, with all the expenditure, we cannot leave the running of institutions to students. Students must be led. They must be told what to do. We must inspire them. They must see that this country is working for them.
Yeah.
So that they stop banning schools.
The funding of universities and TVETs. When President William Ruto came into office, there was a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and there are those people who didn't understand how the new funding model would work. And we have seen that over the years, the process has smoothened. We no longer see students complaining about their their loans and bursaries. In the new fiscal year, and with this amount that has been allocated to the education sector, do you think that the teething problems that were there are going to be a thing of the past?
Thank you. Like any other new program, there is bound to have problems with implementation. But I believe that the funding model for the TVETs and the universities is the best ever. The example here is this, sir. That, we had people like David Ochieng, who, by the grace of God, is now a member of parliament, has capacity. So how would I be paying $1 million shillings per year for my kid in a school in Nairobi, and then when they go to the university, I'm demanding to pay 16,000 shillings? And there are many of us who, our kids are paying $500,000 shillings in high school, 1 million shillings in high school. And then the university are now saying we should pay 20,000 shillings for tuition. It's just not fair. And that's why the funding model that we prepared ensures that those who have capacity to pay higher. Those who have no capacity to pay nothing where necessary. I just want to say one, now that there's the resources for funding of higher education, first of all, let's release the money to the universities on time. Number two, let's make it easier for the students to access these resources. And number three, let's ensure that those who don't have the means testing system should be such a way that those who the band puts at a level where they are not, there's a system for appeal that works very fast, that ensures that no one is missing out. You would probably know this, that part of time is that some children are put in bands that they didn't belong,
Yes.
with the result that some of them actually dropped out of school.
Yes.
Some of them who had scored A's decided not to go to the university
Yes.
because the funding model had placed them wrongly. And so, as you said, as with the system goes on being perfected, I'm sure it's going to be a good system that works for all of us. But above all, you would know that we put enough resources in this budget that will go to the universities direct to ensure that they keep our children in school.
All right.
Yeah.
And then there is 175.5 billion shillings allocation to health. Universal health coverage is one of the areas that the government is really trying to push. But there have also been issues to do with SHA. Some complaining that it has teething problems as well. Some saying that it does not work at all. But there are those who say that SHA works. As a member of parliament, what is your assessment, and what are some of the areas that perhaps this budget is going to cure?
Well, first of all, on SHA, I believe there's some resistance to change that Kenyans should understand that SHA isn't and wasn't meant to be a temporary measure. SHA is anchored in the law. It wasn't a policy proposal. SHA is going to be here with us, and therefore we must work with it and ensure that it works and helps wananchi access health services. So anybody who thinks that SHA is going to go away tomorrow or that it's going to be scrapped should forget about it. SHA is a good system. The way the law has been worked on is very good. We just need to work on its implementation. Number two, the ministry concerned and the stakeholders concerned must address corruption in the health sector. Because the biggest issue in the health sector during the NHIF times, and some of it is now seeping into the SHA system, is corruption, a lack of accountability, wanting to benefit from where we've not sown. And so we keep asking those who are concerned, can we ensure that SHA is run without corruption? Number three, the ministry concerned must keep creating awareness, must keep making the public aware of the benefits of the new healthcare structure, from the level 1 hospital, dispensary, health center, through level 4 to the referral system. The awareness creation is going to be very important so that people know, where am I going for this kind of treatment? Where am I going to go for this kind of treatment? Where do I need a referral? Where do I need a letter for me to move from this hospital to the next? And what are the benefits attendant to that? In most cases where people are complaining, it's lack of awareness. And so awareness is going to be very important. Number three, and I say this knowing what's going on, let's keep pushing more money to the counties.
Yes.
Let's keep pushing more money to the county hospitals. Let's build the structures, because most of the ailments we're dealing with actually primary healthcare issues. They're actually things that do not require someone to come from the coast or come from Nyanza to Nairobi to Kenya National Hospital. There are things that could be sorted out at level 4 hospitals that are being run by the counties. So we need to work with the counties more, build the capacity more, and above all, make Kenyans know that you can actually get proper services in those hospitals.
Okay.
And so it's upon all the counties also to ensure that they invest properly in the hospitals, level 4, level 3, because most of these things we are dealing with in Nairobi will end up in those hospitals. So I believe the investments we are making in the health sector are worthwhile. Kenyans should see the benefits of the monies we are allocating to the health sector.
When President Donald Trump took office for his second term, he made so many changes, and a lot of those changes affected Kenya, which has been a beneficiary of USAID, for example. Now the government has allocated 18.5 billion shillings towards HIV programs. Do you think this is enough?
I don't think it's enough, but I think it's a good gesture and a good investment towards ensuring that we win ourselves of dependence on donor support on key areas. You know, we should depend on donor support in other areas, but not, for example, in the managing of malaria, managing of TB, managing of largely communicable diseases, and managing of HIV. These should be things that are matters of national security, existential. And so we should fund them from our budget. We should not seek to, malaria we know kills many people in this country. TB, HIV. Why should we leave it to the legacies of donors? Why shouldn't we put our own money? And that's why The 18 billion shillings may look small, but I believe that as time goes, we increase it so that we ensure you're putting money in areas where we don't threaten our national security if someone withdraws their donor support. I mean, what Trump did showed us that what happens if one day we wake up and say UN is not supporting this, UNICEF is not supporting that. We need to be sure that on areas that touch on the very health of the country, we are funding ourselves at a level of self-sufficiency.
COVID really pushed countries to the limit. Kenya was not an exemption, and now there is Ebola. There is a whole lot of politics going on. But do you think that it is important for Kenya to be conscious and prepare itself for an eventuality that Ebola gets here?
It's a very interesting question to ask in 21st century, especially in 2026. But this should be no-brainers. I believe that, for example, we have a hospital called Alupe in Busia.
Yes.
Alupe was set up before independence, and the mandate of Alupe was to help deal with communicable diseases, infectious diseases. And so Alupe by now should be running a state-of-the-art, because it's at the border. It's at the border between Malaba and Busia.
Yes.
And these are our two major border posts if you leave Namanga, with the movement of people from the rest of the world, the rest of the country. And so I believe we must keep investing in these areas. In fact, it's an aberration to hear that we are waiting for Americans to invest in our management of diseases like Ebola. We should be dealing with this locally, and it shouldn't matter whether they're American or Kenyan. We should be prepared for these eventualities. If COVID experience is anything to go by, we should invest in these things in a manner that when they happen, they're not a crisis. They shouldn't be a crisis. Ebola, in my opinion, shouldn't be a crisis because we've had Ebola before. Outbreaks of Ebola have happened before, and we shouldn't make it a crisis. Above all, we shouldn't make Americans or any foreign country to think that they're going to help us manage this kind of situation. These are areas that we can only collaborate on, but we cannot allow outside countries to take lead in some of these things.
And now to a point that probably is close home. Energy.
Yes.
There is the rural electrification program that is currently underway.
Yeah.
And a lot of money is, I'm seeing 16.3 billion shillings has been set aside for rural electrification projects.
Yeah.
What is your assessment of the program? Is it to a level that you feel is necessary, or?
I think on rural electrification, we are not doing our best. If you walk into Nyanza today, you'll find villages where there are poles for electricity that have been lying there for 1 year. They brought a pole here, they put 100 poles there, 200 poles there. For a whole year, they're just lying there, nothing is being done. So much as there's money you're putting in there, the level of implementation, enforcement of contracts, ensuring that people who have capacity are being given those contracts, is derailing this process. In fact, I must call upon the minister concerned. I must call upon the REREC CEO and his team. We are not doing well in that regard. Money is being allocated, but output on the ground is suboptimal. We must call to order those who have been called upon, because you can't be launching projects every single day. You bring poles, you bring poles, you bring poles. When the minister leaves, the following day the contractor also leaves. We must ensure that whether we launch a project, there's resources for it, and they do to the end. When you ask, you're told, you didn't have circuits, you didn't have conductors, we don't have conduits. We can't have a situation where you are giving the country hope, and for a whole year nothing is going on.
Where do you think the gap is? Is it the funding or the generation of power? Because Nyanza, for example, is having serious connectivity issues. There's a lot of blackouts in Nyanza.
First of all, you must look at, my opinion, like I've told you, is one, we have so many contracts going on about connecting people through the last mile, but they're never completed. So complete that first. Then number two, and you've said this severally, we must improve the capacity. And that is why, much as I hear people complaining, if we can build a safe nuclear plant in Siaya, in that part of the country, because you are right, the highest number of blackouts in the country are in Western Kenya. And Western Kenya means Trans Nzoia through Bungoma all the way to Migori. We have blackouts, any small drizzle, blackout, any small rain, blackout. And the blackouts go on for a long time. People cannot do business. Productivity goes down when power cannot be guaranteed. And that is why, over and above the last mile, we must ensure that the stability of the grid is guaranteed. Because having power coming from Uganda through our region, and then we are the most unstable in terms of capacity to keep power running.
Ethiopia set the standard and the pace when it launched the dam.
Yes.
And I think for Kenya, perhaps, should we use that as a benchmark? And if we are to generate more power, aside from the nuclear plant that has been proposed for Siaya, what are other areas that we can venture into to boost our power production and supply?
The potential for geothermal power is quite big in the country today, and it's not being tapped even at 10%, in my opinion. Number two is allow for cheaper independent power production structure and systems that ensures that if someone is producing their own power, we can get into the grid at a cheap rate. For example, that we've had that problem where Kenyan is producing power at 10 shillings. The IPPs are selling power to Kenya Power at 100 shillings. So we must deal with independent power producers in a manner that promotes country's growth. We should promote more independent power production, get into the grid at rates that also help Kenyans to grow. Geothermal is a good area. Solar power is a good area. Just promote it and allow it to go into the grid.
Let's talk about the infrastructure fund. And I understand that JKIA is about to get a facelift at approximately 300 billion. How excited should Kenyans be? The last time the government tried to develop JKIA, there was a lot of upheaval.
First of all, personally, I must tell you that I need that airport to be done as soon as yesterday. Politics are out of it, corruption out of it. Just have a decent airport. If you're a Kenyan, and let me tell you, I receive guests for parliament in our airport, and I travel also quite a lot. Our airport really is a shame. It's a big shame, I'm telling you. The thing you're calling JKIA here isn't an airport. It's some thing that was built, it looks like a cowshed. So we must support the revamping and a facelift for JKIA at whatever cost. We must have a new airport out there. Because we are being outcompeted by Rwanda.
Yes.
We are being outcompeted by Ethiopia. You walk into Ethiopia today, land in Dar es Salaam, land in Zanzibar, then come and land at JKIA. It's a big, big shame. So a new airport we must have. We don't have a choice about it. We should just ensure that as we have them, Kenyans are comfortable about accountability. Kenyans feel that the money is, their money is getting, they're getting value for their money. Yeah. So we must ask the actors also ensure that as this happens, let Kenyans get value for money. But the airport for me is base. We must have a new airport. There's no two ways about it.
After the 2024 Gen Z demonstrations, there's always been this feeling that every time the government introduces amendments to the Finance Act, it's always about introducing new taxes. What is your assessment of this?
I think it's a suspicion born out of deficit of trust. And let me tell you, deficit in trust on government is not just in Kenya. Yeah. It's all over the world. People always think government want to take their money and, it's going to end up in corruption and all this. But countries that are self-respected and self-respecting grow their economies using their own resources. And that's why, for example, Ndugu, there are people who worked for 40 years in government and who are saving 20 shillings per month with NSSF. Now you go home, you can't even get 1,000 shillings a month as from NSSF. Yeah. So, for example, if we introduced an increase in NSSF savings, that is your money from 20 shillings. Because what can 20 shillings buy for you today? Okay? There are reforms that were long overdue. The reforms in NSSF were long overdue, so that even if you save 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings a month, when you retire, you go home with something serious. Number two, we are doing a budget today. That budget has to be funded. Okay? We just need to ensure that as we fund our budget, we are also leaving Kenyans with money in their pockets so that they're able to go about their duties and their activities every single day without feeling the government is taking away all the monies from their pockets. But Kenyans must also understand that when we borrow the way we are borrowing very highly from outside, then somehow our sovereignty as a country is undermined. So as a proud Kenyan, I believe that there are sacrifices that we must make to build our country. So much has been said about the finance bills, and finance bills have been there since 1963. It's not the first time we're having a finance bill, and I think we should give government the benefit of the doubt that we are doing the best in the circumstances, and we want to grow our country, all of us.
So after this, focus will shift to Parliament, because I know that the Cabinet Secretary will bring a number of amendments to Parliament, and then also the revenue-raising measures, which of course must be approved. What is going to happen between today and let's say December? Because after this there will be the next year there will be probably it will be called an election budget, I think so. What should Kenyans look forward to, especially from Parliament?
No, Parliament, okay, for example, next week we're going to pass a appropriations bill.
Yes.
Then we'll have the finance bill coming after that.
Yes.
Personally, I want to look at this budget being implemented. Like I told you when we started, I've seen money in that budget for fisheries, for coffee, for tea, for agriculture generally, for production. I want this budget to be implemented. I want Kenyans to push the relevant authorities concerned, the ministries, even Parliament. I want to see Parliament calling on PSAs and calling on the CEOs of hospitals to see the budget we've passed, how is it helping Kenyans? We can't just be budgeting and budgeting every day. Kenyans want to know, yes, we budgeted, we give you our taxes. What are you doing on water? What are you doing on agriculture? What are you doing for us on healthcare? Kenyans must be vigilant, and Parliament must also be vigilant on ensuring that the budget we've passed is being implemented to the benefit of Kenyans.
And Parliament, what has been set aside for?
Parliament.
For Parliament.
Parliament, I think mostly it's been the work of Parliament. The Parliament work you do every day, committee work, ensuring that the salaries are paid. And for example, when we came here in 2013, this Parliament was looking like a madhouse.
It is beautiful now.
Now you've seen the facelift that happened here.
Yeah.
I mean, someone would say, why are you investing in Parliament? But Parliament is our foremost house of diplomacy. When presidents come here, when visitors come here, and they find a Parliament that is not well kept, then how does that reflect on us? And so Parliament has been given resources to ensure that this place looks like a Parliament. Yes. Number two, taking care of the staff of Parliament, taking care of parliamentarians. It is a cost on democracy that you cannot begrudge. And I believe that resources have been given to Parliament. I think it's about 30 billion shillings. It will be used to make Parliament work more effective, make the public access Parliament more easily, and make our Parliament engage with the public also more easily.
One of the things that you can notice is the number of committees. 13th Parliament has more committees than the 12th Parliament.
Yeah.
And what many Kenyans don't understand is the role of these committees.
These committees mostly are for oversight. They're mostly to ensure that Kenyans are getting value for money in the areas where we are putting the budgets. For example, we have introduced committees to help ensure that the CDF is being run effectively.
Yes.
Number two, in the past, we only had one PAC, one PAC. We had only one Public Accounts Committee.
Yes. With
more than 300 reports to look at every year. To the level where we had sometimes 5, 6, 7 years reports or backlog of reports. Now, the disaggregation of PAC into education, into water sector, has ensured that PAC reports are now coming out more frequently. The same for PIC, Public Investment Committee. So the committees that have been formed easily to make Parliament work easier, more effective, and quicker. For example, if you're going to give counties money based on the last audited reports, then we must have a capacity of Parliament to look at those reports. And so if only one committee is looking at those reports, and there are thousands of them, then you can be sure they're going to lag behind. And so the committees have been formed to make Parliament work easier, make Parliament work more effective, make Parliament work more faster. And above all, Parliament now has 349 members. And you want to have members doing their work more effectively. If you put 30 members in a committee, how effective is that committee? Right. If you have a board of 10 people, 11 people, but if you have a board of 30 people, then it becomes a shouting house.
What is your assessment of the relationship between, as we wind up, your assessment of the relationship between the legislature and the executive, with the Kenya Kwanza administration as a context?
I think for me, I would say it's been so uncomfortably cozy. The Parliament this time has been too close to the executive, to a level that is comforting. I must say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would wish for a more arm's length. You know, it's too cozy for my comfort. Personal as David Ochieng.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is Uganda Member of Parliament David Ochieng giving us his insights into the highlights that is the budget 2026-2027, which will be presented before Parliament this afternoon. I'll have that. Thank you very much. And a lot of expectations.
Thank you.
Kenyans are expecting a lot from the Cabinet Secretary for Finance, who will be presenting that budget this afternoon, I think probably from 3 p.m. onwards. And just a quick highlight, education sector gets the lion's share of the budget, and that is at 781.4 billion shillings. Education remains the largest beneficiary of government funding. The key allocations include the 56.7 billion shillings for Higher Education Loans Board, that is HELB, and the 4.9 billion shillings to recruit some 20,000 intern teachers on permanent and pensionable terms. And there's also funding for universities, TVETs, and junior secondary schools and basic education programs. The allocation aims to improve access to quality education and support learners across all levels. The health sector is also in the highlights at 175.5 billion shillings. My colleague Kamche Menza has taken a breather. You were here for a very long time, Kamche. But what is coming out from my brief assessment is that this 4.8 trillion shillings is probably the beginning of great things for the country.
Indeed, from the conversations that we have had with Chair as well as the Director for the Parliamentary Budgets Office, because what I wanted to understand myself, of course I know this was a question that even Mwananchi out there was looking for answers to, regarding that particular budget, because you know it's an increase, right, from the previous financial year to this year. And basically what I picked from the two speakers is that there is a total of 1.5 trillion that will be going to the debt. Yeah. And then of course there was now the breakdown of now the other monies that will be used. How now the other monies will be used, including the monies that will be sent to the county governments. County governments initially had requested for, I know Kabasa, you are away, whether I think I should just bring you to speed on what has been happening within the corridors of Parliament. Of course, the National Assembly had initially proposed that county governments should get 420 billion for the next financial year, 2026-2027. And then when we went to the Senate proposed that the money needs to be increased to 454. And I can see that the next person you'll be hosting is the vice chairperson of the Budget Appropriations Committee Senate. Yeah.
Yes. Senator Mutinda.
Senator Mutinda is coming up. So those are some of the issues that perhaps I would like to understand. Why did they back the money? The proposal was around 454. And then they came all the way, when they went for mediation, they came all the way down to 428. So Kabasa, perhaps as you engage the vice chairperson of budget and for Senate, maybe umuulize kwa nini walishuka sana from 454 to 4. But basically those are some of the highlights. Of course, Kenyans want to understand more and how the budget engagements are from the beginning of the financial year to the end. Remember, when it comes to August, of course, the country will start the preparations for the next financial year, the 2027-2028. So, Kabasa.
Thank you very much, Kamche Menza. And I am going to be speaking to nominated Senator Tabitha Mutinda. She has a lot of things to say, especially the funding of counties. This has been a thorny issue all the way since 2013. And governors feel that a lot of the resources that are gathered nationally, a huge chunk of it should go to counties. And senators are also backing this proposal or this demand by governors that counties are not getting enough. And the central government needs to to do more, provide counties with more. But the question is, how is this money being utilized in the counties? Because the Auditor General, in reports since 2013, has been raising queries that perhaps some of these monies that are being charged to the counties are not being utilized in the manner that they ought to. Karibu sana, Senator.
Asante
You
sana.
are live on Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit TV channel,
All right.
on YouTube
Yes.
as well,
Okay.
and on Signet.
Yes.
We have the budget today.
Yes.
The Cabinet Secretary will be presenting a 4.8 trillion budget for
Yes.
the country.
Yes.
Are you excited or are you disappointed? Where do you stand?
I wouldn't say really either I'm excited or not, because for me the excitement is more when the output is visible. And I say like that because I speak as the Vice Chair of Finance and Budget. We've been part of this process, especially on our side, on the Senate side. Yesterday is when we were able to complete and pass Division of Revenue Bill with the 428 billion, the mediated version, because we had to do mediation. So with that completion on our side on Senate, that's how now the 4.8 in total trillion is. But my excitement is when the output is visible and positive visibility. Yes, 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 yeah.
Do you think the money to the counties will at some point get to 500 billion?
Yes, because you see, it's a constitutional mandate, which is 15% of revenue, national revenue for the counties. And so, yes, we believe that there will be maximization of revenue collection by the national government, and hence that will be able to also increase the allocation for the counties.
What?
Yes.
Now it's 428
billion.
28.
Yes.
How much would you have wanted counties to get?
Actually, our proposal from the beginning was 454 billion. And this was based on different factors, looking at the cost of inflation, okay? At the same time, looking at the SRC circulars that are already with the counties 2 years down the line, and the recurrent expenditure maintenance has been a challenge for the counties. We have the issues of the CHPs. You know, it's a shared budget between the national government and the county government. And so you find that the national government at times honors and the counties are a bit strained because of the challenges for funding. At the same time, you find that we have developments like the issues of the KIPES. NSSF was increased, and all these recurrent expenditures have been a bit of a tight for the counties. So with the 454 that we had earlier suggested, we felt that that should be able to be sufficient for them, at least to be able to ensure they are able to meet all their targets and their budgets, both the current and the developmental expenditure. But with the mediation, during the mediation process, we were able to put our case so much. National Assembly was able also to put their case, and the biggest issue was on the issue of debt. Which is over 2 trillion, and that's where the challenge was. So yeah, we really had forth and back. It was extremely very tight. We had 7 sittings, and in the final sitting we decided, okay, let's give them, let's agree to this 4.28 at this particular period, and then we look forward for next financial year, which we believe it will be more than 430 billion moving forward, or even more, or even 500, who knows.
And I know that as senators, you work so hard to ensure that counties get their money and on time. What is your assessment of how this money is utilized in the counties?
Of course, we have seen, in our oversight mandate, we have seen that there are loopholes. Counties have, I mean, it's even been on media, whereby monies have been looted, and you ask yourself where this money is coming from. And we've done recommendations as Senate, different committees. So yes, I wouldn't say there are no loopholes. Loopholes are there, but you see, as per the law pertains, you know, our mandate we need to do our role, and our role is to ensure that counties have got their funding, and that's constitutionally. You know, they're not begging; it's in the constitution. So that is what we appear, and that's what we were able to achieve. So we have different stakeholders. We have the EACC, we have the ODPP, we have all these institutions. For us as Parliament is to do recommendations, which we've been able to do. The rest needs to be played by the other government bodies. So we've done our part. We have policies in place that we've said. So as far as legislation is concerned, we have done our part. What is important is to ensure that these monies are utilized in the right way.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And politically, sorry, we have senators who are dreaming of being governors,
Yeah.
and we have governors who are dreaming of being senators.
Yes.
This relationship is supposed to help legislation,
Yes.
and it's also supposed to help development in the
Yeah.
counties.
Mm.
Is it working, really?
Yes, it is. There is no illegality in anybody having a dream. We also have ministers who want to be president. There's no problem. It's not an offense. It's anybody is entitled. Even you might decide today, I want to be a senator. It is okay. It's fine. And you might be interviewing a senator or a governor. I mean, there's no problem, like
Yes.
you are doing
Yes.
it right now
Yes.
with me. So these are normal ambitions, and they do not hinder the responsibility and the mandate. And actually, it's even good having a senator becoming a governor. There is maximum experience in it. When they settle, they know where they're coming from, how things are supposed to be done. They are more experienced, actually. We've seen whereby people have come from the corporate. Some have been able to achieve, some have not even
Yes.
done it worse. So there's it's anybody's normal ambition, and it's right. It doesn't hinder or interfere work. And I've seen actually those senators who want to be governors, they have really fought for more funding for those counties. I remember last year when we were doing the fourth basis formula, and we had to listen to the 12 counties who are getting the least amounts, and we came to a positive conclusion, you know.
Yes.
So it's actually a win-win subject, because we serve the same people at the end of the day.
You're a member of the Health Committee.
Yes, I am.
And 175.5 billion
Yes.
has been allocated to
Allocated.
the health
Yeah.
sector.
Yes.
Is it enough? And from your assessment,
Yes.
are we headed in the right direction? We have SHA, we have everything going on, USAID stopping, and now funding of programs such as HIV and AIDS is out of trouble.
I wouldn't say it's not enough, but it is something. We are last year's financial year 2025-2026, the allocation in the health ministry was 164 billion, and today it is 175, which is an increment of 12 billion. And this increment, I'm actually happy as a woman, because it's been factored as on the maternity section, neonatal section. That's where most of the budget has been increased, which is positive, so as to be able to manage the mortality issues and be able to improve the services for mother-child delivery. And so also the primary health care, you know, so budgets have been increased, and in that regard, more people are mostly within the accessibility of the dispensary levels. And you know, primary health, the healthcare budget, Kenyans are supposed to get services for free at that particular level before we go to level 5, 4, 5, and even level 6. And also to encourage, the problem we have is that we have over 10 million Kenyans who have been registered for SHA, but only about 40% or 35% are the ones who are genuinely submitting their remittances for SHA. And that's where the challenge is, because most people, yes, they're registered, but a smaller number is the one which is remitting. So we've really encouraged the Ministry of Health through the SHA department to be able to ensure they sensitize more Kenyans to be able to do their submissions. And so with those increments, even in the education sector, we've seen there has been an increment of 28 billion. Most of the funds having gone to Teacher Service Commission, because we want to ensure that there are more teachers, so that we strengthen the CBC program. We've had a gap in the GSS category of our learners. So with those increments, we pray and hope that the ministries will be able to streamline, ensure also they offer adequate services to our people.
Okay. You're a first-time member of parliament.
Yes, first time.
I know
Senate.
you have learned so much.
Yes, I have.
And as we wind up,
Yes.
what are some of the things that you would want to change, between now and 2027, even
Yes.
post 2027?
Honestly speaking, it's 1 year almost,
Yeah.
to the end. I'm happy that I've been part of this budget process where I sit as a Vice Chair Finance and Budget.
Yeah.
I'm very happy, and I believe as I transition, because I look forward to go to the National Assembly, God willing, in 2027 as the Woman Rep Nairobi County, and I hope to even sit in the Budget Committee so that I can be able to continue fighting
Yes.
to ensure there is accountability and also budget cuts, you know, in areas that we can be able to save and whereby monies have been just spent for you know, luxuries and all that, these unnecessary conferences that do not add value.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana.
That is Senator Tabitha Mutinda giving us her insights into the budget that will be presented before the National Assembly this afternoon by Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi.
fine, well done.
And right
Good to
now,
see you too.
joining me on the set will be Molo Member of Parliament,
Yes.
Kuri Kimani, who has a lot of knowledge as
Asante.
far as
All the
budgeting
same.
is concerned, and
Oh, you're
as far as finance matters are concerned. He has been central in pushing the Kenya Kwanza agenda as far as budget is concerned in Parliament. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. You are live on Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit, on YouTube as well, and on Bunge TV. This afternoon, what has got us here, and what has the process taken, and how should Kenyans take this 4.8 trillion that will be presented today?
First of all, the budget cycle is a long cycle. It doesn't just start here. It starts with a budget outlook paper that was published last year, and then now there is a budget policy statement that was approved by this House around April, and then there was sufficient or very elaborate public participation now on the budget, and that's why now today the Minister for the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury is going to present the biggest budget in the history of the Republic of Kenya. And it's also important to note that this particular budget is a great improvement from last year's budget in terms of fiscal deficit, because although in nominal terms the budget the deficit is 1.1 trillion shillings, which is more than the fiscal deficit that we had in the last budget in terms of nominal terms. But in terms of a percentage of GDP, we are now at 5.4%, which is for 5.3%, which is 1.1 percentage points lower than what was the fiscal deficit last year at 6.4%. So we are seeing better management of the budget, because the budget should spur economic growth. So if you find that the increased budget is leading to a growth in GDP, and therefore that's why, even though there is a higher deficit in nominal terms, in terms of percentage of GDP, then it's actually lower at 5.3%. So it means that the fiscal consolidation efforts, it means that the budgets that now we are passing are actually spurring economic growth. Because to make it in simpler terms, it means that if the money allocated to roads is actually going to roads, and that's why when those roads are done, then there is growth in terms of economy, in terms of GDP.
And a lot has been done, to be honest, and a lot is also being done in terms of infrastructure. Roads are being built, but to many Kenyans, the budget is just a long speech by a cabinet secretary, and then introducing taxes here and there. But to the critical audience, that Kenyan who knows where we were last year and where we are right now and where we are trying to go as a country, how should Kenyans approach this, this moment that Honorable Mbadi is going to have before Parliament this afternoon?
Budget means roads in connecting one village to another.
Yes.
The allocation of money for electricity connection boils down to that home in Molo, that home in Kapsita, getting electricity. Water being sent to roads means that Kenyans that are going to fetch dirty water in the river are now going to have clean water taps in their homes. This budget means that our students in JSS, our students in high school, our students in universities who are supported through capitation are going to get their money for capitation. It means that there are going to be more TVET institutions being built across the country. So the budget is not that 5.8 trillion shillings don't think about that. Think about the water projects in the villages. Think about electricity projects that are going to be done. Think about simple things as classrooms being built by national government, by CDF. Think about the 424 billion shillings that are going to support, that are going to, as a division of revenue to our counties. Now, it means recruiting ECD teachers in our counties. It means the feeding program, for example, that we've seen some governors implement for ECD kids across the counties. So the big number, it is now those numbers that form this big number of 4.8 trillion. But the budget is what runs our economy. It's what makes us safe in terms of allocation that go to security. It's the one that ensures we have enough police officers. Yeah. It's what ensures that you can have your good night's sleep without being worried that you're going to be robbed at night. It means that you're able to walk along the streets of Nairobi holding your phone because someone is not going to come and grab it. You know, those are measures, for example. That's what it means by allocation being sent to security. The allocations being sent, for example, for national intelligence. It means, remember a few years ago where we used to have terrorist attacks, you know, and nowadays we haven't been having those terror threats. It's because we have now a very efficient national intelligence service, and it means that the resources that go into national intelligence service are actually working towards making sure that we have a proper intelligence service that informs and prevents crime before it happens, and you could tell, for example, how that has happened over the years.
And finance bill is coming before Parliament. There's going to be debate. We know how it has gone over the last 2 years, but there is a lot of misconception. And yesterday, Treasury came out with a document trying to simplify this thing, saying that we are not introducing new taxes. All we are trying to do is streamlining things. What should Kenyans look forward to? Are they going to be seeing a situation where members of parliament are going to be debating and passing these amendments for their benefit in terms of PR, basically?
I want to guarantee you that we have done public participation in 15 counties. We are now at the process of considering our reports that I'll hopefully be able to table next week. And the views of Kenyans, I want to guarantee you, will be reflected in our reports. And even from the bill itself, if you scan through it, there is no introduction of new taxes. What there is better is improvement in our tax administration.
Yes.
And that's why even most of the proposals that you see are amendments to the Tax Procedures Act, because it's more procedure, because the way our tax administration has been happening is when you have now 20% of our Kenyan population paying 80% of our taxes. And that's what we're trying to correct, that deficit, to make sure that everyone pays their fair, and I mean their fair share of tax, not a shilling more and not a shilling less. Because if you all of us paying the right share of tax, then that we wouldn't have that burden being on some and not on others.
Yeah, and just to mention, like a brief example of you know what we mean. Definition of, for example, immovable property or drafting fix, that the word and is replaced with or, so that land, buildings, or rights of minerals each qualify separately as immovable property. For someone who has really read so much or who understands the budgeting process and then the Finance Act and whatnot, Kenyans are jittery, especially when you touch on their property. That am I going to be paying double tax, or what is happening to my money?
There is no any double taxation that is being introduced, and most of those clauses that you're seeing, deleting or and replacing with and, is more of simplifying the tax language so that it is crystal clear what the law intended to do. And I think what we seem to be doing is overthinking about some of these provisions. But once I table my report to you, you'll see. And you'll see that we listen to the views of Kenyans, and you'll see that there is no introduction of new taxes. What we're doing is enhancing the tax administration to make sure that everyone pays their fair share of tax.
And let's talk of Gen Z and their understanding of the budget making process. They're very vocal. They're using social media to educate their colleagues about what is happening in the country. Are you happy that young Kenyans are talking?
For the finance bill has been here since 1963,
Yes.
but it has only started being discussed during this administration. And so I pride myself as being chair of the finance committee to having carried out very active public participation on this administration being very open in terms of running of things. And so as a result, I am very happy to see discussions on Kenyans who have not necessarily studied economics or finance, explaining the difference between zero rating and tax exemption.
Yes.
That was a very technical topic in finance and in CPAs and in tax. And so we are seeing a more informed generation, we're seeing a more informed electorate, we're seeing a more informed Kenyan, and this is very good because it's also putting oversight on us as elected representatives, because it means that people now understand, these particular matters. I've seen people scan through the budget and say, this money is going here, this money is going here, this money is going to this project. And I've seen people now go to the actual project to audit and see, was this dam done? Was this stadium done? Was this project done? Was it completed? And that is what we need, because we can have nobody knows it all.
Yes.
And even the efforts that even the president is making to make sure that all those projects he's launching are done, it's humanly not possible for him to be the one doing everything. And so even in terms of oversighting, whether it is our minister or our CSAs or PSAs or our governors, now it's not just MCAs and MPs who are oversighting them. We have now Kenyans oversighting everything. And I think that is a way to go to make sure that we reduce reduce corruption. There is value for money, and certainly that the investment that's going to that's being made in terms of our budget actually goes to the right thing.
And let me ask you, Mheshimiwa, there's always this notion that Parliament will always reduce an allocation that a ministry is requesting. Let's say, for example, the education ministry that has been given 781.4 billion. There's that feeling that a lot more needs to go towards the education sector. Is Parliament limiting how much ministry should get?
You see, we must, there's a fiscal framework we must operate on. If we have a budget of 4.8 trillion shillings, that is the ceiling, and this is the ceiling that we passed in our ceiling, then we can't increase it. And as you started by saying, it's a very huge budget. So if we want more allocation to go to education, then we need to cut other allocations.
Yes.
And you saw, for example, when he tried to cut the money that goes to counties, then we had Senate give a push and pull, and eventually that number reduced, increased a bit, but not as high as what the Senate had recommended, because Kenyans need roads, Kenya needs electricity connection, Kenya needs water connection, and then if we have, so although the education sector is important, and it's very important, but so is the other programs. They are also important, because if you don't build that road that leads to that school, then teachers are not going to get to school. Then those learners are not going to get to school. If we do not have electricity in that school, that means students are not going to be able to learn in the afternoon, in the evening. So, although it is very important that we allocate that money to much more to education, but so is other sectors, because they are enablers of the education system.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much, Mheshimiwa. Thank you very much. That is one Member of Parliament, Kuria Kimani, giving us his insights into the budget that will be presented this afternoon by the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, Honorable John Mbadi, who has been also a Member of Parliament. I'm going to wind up the business here, but the broadcast, the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit is this afternoon, like it has always done, is going to be bringing you live the presentation of the 4.8 trillion shilling budget from 3 p.m. On behalf of the team here, my colleague Kamche Menza and our director Doris Gitonga, our bosses Steven Nyakuti, and all the crew here. My name is Edward Kabasa. keep watching and have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Unaweza ukapaza sauti zaidi na zaidi. Jina muinulia mikono yako. Jina Repo coriander, repo sacariander. Gino